How to close a return for quality reviewers. In this video, we're going to discuss how to close a return as a quality reviewer. First, I'll show you how to close an e-file return, and later in the video, a paper return. On the e-file section, under the Return Type section, select the appropriate e-file options on the Federal Return Type drop-down menu. If you select the e-file direct deposit option, open the Taxpayer Bank Account Information section. Review the bank name, routing number, and account number with the client for both checking and savings. Please keep in mind that the checking account number will never be the same as a savings account number. Before you proceed to the next page, don't forget to select your ID number for the Quality Review ID number question. Click the Save button. On this last screen, called the Submission page, print the return using the FC e-file print set option. Retrieve the printed documents and have the taxpayer sign both copies of Form 8879. Before signing, let the taxpayer know that he or she is responsible for the information on the return. Let the client know about the time frame for receiving their refund or confirm they know how to make a payment if they owe. Place in the client envelope a copy of the tax return and one signed 8879, as well as any remaining tax documents. Next, update the processing envelope. Make sure the Social Security number or ITIN of the primary taxpayer is written correctly on the envelope, and the certification level and other details are correct. Add your volunteer ID as the quality reviewer, and then complete the e-file section on the processing envelope. Make any relevant notes on the envelope. Last, put all necessary documents inside of the processing envelope for our record-keeping purposes. For e-file returns, we must keep the signed 8879 e-file authorization form. If we validated a Social Security number or ITIN from a return previously e-filed by us and accepted by the IRS, you will see a main info page instead of Social Security or ITIN documents. We can only validate Social Security numbers or ITINs for people appearing on that page. Keep in mind we still need photo IDs for the primary and secondary taxpayers, regardless of whether they are returning clients. Now, finish closing the return. Click Yes next to the Is Complete box and click the Approved button toward the end of the page. Don't forget to do both of these steps. Then click to save and exit the return. If you need to add a note at this point, locate the return from the main menu using the Client Search option. From there, you can add a note without re-entering the return. At this point, you can let the client go and turn in the processing envelope. Don't forget to log out afterward. Now let's review how to finish up a paper return. The process for a paper return is similar to that of an e-file return, but it has some key differences. On the e-file screen, select the appropriate paper option instead of any of the e-file options mentioned earlier. You will then check bank account information if needed, and select your ID number for the Quality Reviewer ID number question. Continue on to the Submission page and print the FC paper print set. Explain to the taxpayer that he or she is ultimately responsible for the information on the return, and ask the taxpayer to sign one Form 1040. Fold up the return and place it in an envelope for the client. The mailing address will vary depending on whether the client is mailing only the tax return or is including a payment with the return, so check CTC Resources to verify the correct mailing address. Make sure the client knows that it is his or her responsibility to mail in the return and that we are not going to submit anything to the IRS. Then place the envelope with the return inside of the client envelope. We recommend writing "Copy" at the top of the other printed return. Then place that second copy and all other documents inside the client envelope. Next, update the processing envelope. Make sure the Social Security number or ITIN of the primary taxpayer is written correctly on the envelope, and that the certification level and all other details are correct. Add your volunteer ID as a quality reviewer, and then complete the paper section of the processing envelope. Make sure you write a note indicating why it is a paper return. For a paper return, we usually do not keep anything inside the processing envelope. There are only a few forms we would ever place inside the envelope for a paper return, such as a spousal consent form or a copy of the power of attorney form. Now, Finish closing the return. Click Yes next to the Is Complete box and click the Approved button toward the end of the page. Don't forget to do all of these steps. Then click to save and exit the return. Again, don't forget to add notes if needed. After all this is done, you can let the client go and turn in the processing envelope. But one more thing. Whether the return is e-file or paper, don't forget to provide feedback to the preparer if there were any mistakes or if there's anything you'd like that person to know. This can be in person or via the QR feedback form. This is an important part of our process to ensure we all have the opportunity to learn from our mistakes and become better preparers. In providing feedback now, you're saving yourself time later.
Hey, I noticed you were reviewing the return I prepared. Do you have any notes for me?
Yeah, thanks for checking in. I do have two things to mention. The first thing is that we were able to find a phone bill deduction for him at QR. So, Lyft drivers, they have to use their phone for work, right? So we just took the percentage of his phone bill usage dedicated to Lyft, and that's a deduction on his tax return.
Oh, he didn't mention anything about that.
Well, that happens sometimes. Sometimes people don't know or they forget in the moment. We just have to think about what type of work it is and ask some probing questions to see what type of expenses he might have had. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was the child tax credit. So he was actually eligible for the child tax credit, but it didn't appear on the return. And that's up to $2,000 in a credit. So kind of a big difference and something to consider for the future.
Definitely, that makes a huge difference. Oh, well, thank you so much for your feedback.
Hey, no problem.
For information on the entire quality review process, check out our video, How to Conduct a Quality Review.